a really important thing for us because to have collectors in the future is really important. And not just people making money, but people that love the coins and the paper money and love the hobby. I like to say that this stuff is history in your hand. So there's a story in all of this stuff. And when you like the stories, it's really cool. And the research is fantastic. And there's lots of areas in this hobby where people have magazines, the Society of Paper Money Collectors, almost every area of collecting of the coins has a separate group of people that have their own magazines, emails, etc. So it's really, really great. Today we're going to have some speakers, but before that, I just want to let you know that I have some information here. You all ought to know about this. This is Coins for A's that the ANA does. Every time you get a report card, if you get 3 A's on it, or 3 superiors or whatever, you send a copy, make a copy of the report card, send it in, and you get a coin. And some of them are very, very nice. And then we also have the Ancient Coin Project and the Copper Project, which is back here. They're on each side of this paper. And if you do certain things, ANA will send you a coin. And some of them are simply display at a meeting. Give a talk at a meeting, write a paper. And I will be very happy to sign the things when anybody comes to Wilmington or the Currency Club of Chester County to sign them so they can get a coin. And those coins are significant. I know a couple people that have done it for like 15 years and they get coins that are very nice coins. Okay, we're going to start. And what we're going to do is, I'm just going to go around the room so people can tell us your name and just your first name, and then we'll have our speakers and we'll do some other things.
Mike and Ryan. Are you doing just the kids or what? Don't care.
Nancy.
Bud.
Laura.
Andrea.
John.
Christy.
Linnea.
Allison.
Casey.
Jürgen.
Lynn.
Gavin.
Paul. Justin.
Cohen.
Rowan.
Riley.
Bryce.
I'm Kenny. And I'm Garrett.
Sure. And we're very happy to see all of you. I know there's less people today because of the little traffic problem up there. It's really hard to get here, so a lot of kids didn't make it. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to have 3 of our YNs give talks, and these are kids, they aren't kids anymore, and they've grown up in the hobby, and all 3 of them are respected by people in the ANA and around the country for what they've done. So we're all very proud of them. So, you want to start?
Yeah, I can start first.
Okay, this is Kenny.
Yes, I'm Kenny. I just have a couple of handouts to hand to the audience. This will help along with the presentation.
Thank you very much.
Alright, and now I just got one more thing. So these are for you to keep as well.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
Oh, yeah, you get that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. 1539.
Alright, so everyone got one of these, right? Alright? So I just wanted to start off my presentation with saying, on the front of these, you'll see a little business card. It's from my YouTube channel, Numismatics with Kenny. I make a lot of educational videos, really for anybody of all ages. You know, sometimes I'll do videos on the coins I just purchased and tell a little history about them. And other ones I'll just do a certain video on a certain denomination or a certain design, and then tell history and information about that specific series. And there's some information on the back of the card to tell you how to get there. So my presentation today will be about wheat cents and other cents to collect from roll searching and pocket change. I just also wanted to welcome you to the 2018 Lion program. So many collectors begin their loves of numismatics by collecting U.S. cents from searching through their pocket change and through bank rolls. And I was one of those young collectors. That's how I really started to get really into the hobby of numismatics, of coin collecting. And my father and I would go to local banks and purchase $10 of rolled up cents. And every time we did that, we always made sure that the coins on the ends, make sure that roll wasn't all 2016s or all 2017s. Because if they're both like new coins on the ends, most likely it's all new coins in the middle. And that defeats the purpose of looking through them to find special pieces that you really like. And after I'm done searching them, either I roll them back up into the rolls and send them back to the bank, or sometimes you'll be lucky and you'll find a bank with a coin counter, and you just put them through there, and then you retrieve your money from the bank. And you can actually use that money to get more rolls to find more neat coins. And once I got home with my new rolls, I would open each roll up and begin sorting through them. And I began roll searching when I was 7 and thought it would be great to try and collect 1 million of them. I know that's a lot, but I tried. And although I found close to 10,000 or so through roll searching and pocket change, my parents really helped me by purchasing bags and rolls from local dealers and collectors of the special pieces, just like a roll of wheat cents or a roll of a certain date to help me get to the 1 million. I haven't gotten there yet. I have about 200,000, which is still quite a lot, but still have a little bit more to get to 1 million. And within a year or two of searching through the rolls for wheat cents and key dates, I began looking through nickel and quarter rolls and even dime rolls with half dollars. And I'm always looking before 1964, and as they were made of 90% silver, so these are worth much more than the actual face value of like a quarter could be worth $5 if it's silver, not just 25 cents. And you can find them in your pocket change and make instant money right there. And in time, my excitement for coin collecting grew. I began adding more valuable coins to my collections, and then I became hooked on world coins, but that's another story. And I share this with you because I know firsthand that roll searching can be the beginning of many numismatic futures for everybody in this room, young or big. And they're wheat cents, they're not pennies. Our cents may be called pennies, but to a true numismatist, we call them cents. Because if you notice on the front, they say 1 cent on the reverse and not 1 penny. Because back in the 1700s, Ben Franklin, when he coined his, probably one of his most famous terms, a penny saved is a penny earned, he was talking about English pennies from Britain, because we were still using British money in our coinage back then. But they are cents, not pennies. And President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday was celebrated in 1909, and then so they used that to kind of commemorate him for his for his life of being such a good president, and how they thought it would be interesting. So they started making Lincoln cents in 1909, and then of course they kept doing that all the way until today. And President Theodore Roosevelt, he wanted to celebrate it since he was the current president at the time. He asked the now famous sculptor Victor David Brenner, VDB, to design the new cent, and Burr had used a picture taken when Lincoln was still alive to make the sculpture of Lincoln to use on the cent for the obverse with his bust. And he also had 2 wheat ears on the back, as you see on the front page. And the words "In God We Trust," they were noted on the obverse, and this was the first time they were noted on a regular U.S. cent. That started in 1864. They actually had 2 cent pieces back then. I know it sounds weird, but they really did have that, and that was the first coin ever to have "In God We Trust." But they didn't appear on 1 cent pieces until 1909 with the introduction of the Lincoln cent. And then I'm just going to talk about what you should look for if you do want to look through rolls and pocket change. Wheat cents, they're also called Wheaties. They appeal to a lot of collectors, especially young collectors who just want to get started in the hobby. And they will keep their value because they're only 1 cent minimum, and then they only go up. And hopefully they'll become very valuable over time. And of course, there are some key dates to look for. The most famous is 1909 SVDB. For you who don't know, 1909, of course, is date. S was for San Francisco, the mint that they made it in, and VDB was the initials, Victor David Brenner. And it's not the one on the front, but on the next page, it has VDB right underneath the wheat ears on the reverse. And they only did this in 1909 for a very short while. Then they discontinued it because they thought, because people didn't really like having the engraver's initials right on the coin. But then they put it back in a different location several years later. In 1909, San Francisco only made 484,000 VDB Lincoln cents, so they're very rare today. Really, in very circulated condition, they can be base of $800 and go up to tens of thousands in higher grades. And I know it's very hard to find them in circulation, but I know people who have, and it's really neat to find something so rare in the wild, as they say. And of course, here's the photo of the 1909 SVDB. And on the next couple pages, there are notes of many coins to look for of Lincoln cents. Those include errors, die varieties, and doubling sometimes. And the most famous one, as you see down here, is the 1955 double die obverse. As you see, 1955 Liberty and In God We Trust are all boldly doubled. It's like you're seeing pretty much 2 of everything on that coin except for Lincoln's bust. And then I won't go through them all because there are a lot, but there are just some harder to find dates like 1914 D. Of course, 1909 SVDB is on there. And as you see, there are just a whole bunch of different varieties to look for of a lot of different dates. And then I just want to touch on the other coins I look for when I'm searching through cent rolls. Sometimes you can find Canadian cents, especially here in Pennsylvania. Since you're pretty close to Canada, they trickle down here, and you can find them every once in a while. Indian head cents, pretty much the design before the Lincoln cent. You can still find those in change. And then 2009 Lincoln cents. As you see here, they had 4 different designs on the back or the reverse, celebrating Lincoln's 200th birthday. And these ones are actually pretty small. Their mintages are pretty small compared to other coins. So I would keep the 2009s because they could go up in value, and they're just neat because they're different than really any other Lincoln cent that they've ever made. Do you have any questions on this part? I just wanted to finish talking about the A&A and the American Numismatic Association and becoming a member, because it's really a great organization. You get to learn you get to learn a lot more about coins, and then you get to meet a lot of great numismatic faces. So I just have some forms up here in case you wanted to sign up and become a member of the ANA. The gold for ages 5 through 17, that's like one of the base levels, and that's pretty much only for the online version of the Numismatist. So if you sign up for Platinum, which is only a couple dollars more, you can actually get a very nice magazine in hand every month. And it's really a great magazine. A lot of great articles, pictures, and there are even some fun games, I guess numismatic fun games in the back to kind of help your knowledge in a fun way. So in case anybody would like one of these, I have them up here. I would suggest signing up because Ms. Pam had noted the Coins for A's program. There are also other programs just like that that really help your numismatic collecting. Also, when you're old enough, you can go to the ANA Summer Seminar, and that's pretty much a course where you go out to Colorado, Springs, Colorado, and then pretty much learn about numismatics. You can take a course for either 1 week, 2 weeks, or both, different courses for each week. And then there's like auctions. There's a Hawaiian auction that helps grow money for the Treasury, for the ANA to help supply young numismatists with scholarships. So if you want, I have the forms up here, and thank you.
One thing you should know is these crazy machines in the grocery stores where you can put your change, people are throwing collections in there and getting the money out, and so you are starting to see more stuff in your change. It's valuable.
I don't think I can top Kenny's.
Yeah.
All right, so today I'm going to talk about world paper money, which is a great way that you can get involved with numismatics very affordably. So I'm going to talk about a few different ways that you can collect world paper money. So first, you can collect world paper money by animal. So what's everyone's favorite animal?
Cat.
Cat, okay. Anyone else?
Don't have one.
Don't have one? Okay.
Don't have one. Panda.
Anyone else? Tiger, panda. All right. So here are a few examples of animals that are on world paper money. The first is this 2006 10 rupee note from India, and it shows a lion and an elephant on the reverse. It also shows a picture of Mahatma Gandhi on the obverse, who some of you may recognize as the Indian peacemaker. How many pictures of Gandhi do you think are on this note? Yeah? Bryce?
2.
2? That's a good guess, because there actually are 2 pictures of Gandhi on this note. The first one's obviously right here, and the second one's a watermark, which is a security feature where if you hold the note up to the light, you can see an image of Gandhi on the note. So when I pass this around later, you guys can take a look at that. So the second one is this 25 dinars note from Iraq, and it shows 3 Arabian horses. The third one is a 2005 50 manat note from Turkmenistan. The manat replaced the Russian ruble in that country in 1993. And it shows right here the golden horse Yanardog, who belonged to President Niyazov, who just happens to be on the other side. The fourth note is a 1999 5,000 sucres note from Ecuador, which shows the Galapagos giant tortoise. As you probably know, the Galapagos Islands are part of Ecuador, and Galapagos actually means tortoise in Spanish. If any of you are bird lovers, then this note could also be for you, because it shows a flightless cormorant and a Galapagos penguin on the note as well. The Galapagos penguin is the penguin that lives furthest north. Okay. Continuing on the bird theme is a 1986 50 kwacha note from Zambia. It shows the picture of their president right here, and his name is Kaunda. And it shows a fish eagle, which is the national bird of Zambia. The third and final bird note is a 1993 10 dinar from Macedonia. Their alphabet is different from ours, so the note was quite difficult to translate. But thank goodness for Google Translate, because I was able to do it. The note shows a 4th century mosaic of a peacock that's located in Stovey, Macedonia. Okay. Another way that you can collect world paper money is by natural landmark. So the first one I have here is a 1,000 rupiah note from Indonesia. It shows Lake Toba, which occupies the top of a collapsed volcano, and this is called a caldera. Crater Lake in Oregon is also formed by a caldera, in case you've been there. Okay. The second is a 5,000 intis note from Peru, and it shows a beautiful scene from the Peruvian mountains. Interestingly, the obverse of this note shows Peruvian revolutionary hero Tupac Amaru II, who American rapper Tupac Shakur was actually named after. Alright, the last natural landmark note is a $10 trillion, it's a $100 trillion note from Zimbabwe. Now, what's interesting about this note is that it's a result of hyperinflation, which is where the government makes so much money that it just keeps devaluing and devaluing, so you get notes in insane denominations like $100 trillion. Yes, sir?
That wouldn't even buy a piece of gum, and I have a copy of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was an issue of that in Germany in the 1920s, and some guy bought a cup of coffee for 6,000 marks, which is, it sounds like a lot today, but it really wasn't for back then. And then by the time he was done drinking his cup of coffee and reading the newspaper, he went to pay for it, and it cost him 14,000 marks, just in the time he was reading the newspaper. Alright, so finally, you can collect notes with your favorite school subject on it. So what's everyone's favorite subject? Yes, Bryce?
Math.
Math, okay.
Math and band.
Math and band, okay. Gavin?
History.
History, I like history too. Riley?
Science.
Science, okay. Well, for the three of you who said math and science, here are a few notes that have to deal with math and science. So the first is this 1991 Croatian 5 dinara note, which shows Roger Boskovic on it. And he was a Croatian mathematician, astronomer, and physicist. The note has some geometry calculations on it right here. The second note is a 2000 leu note from Romania. It celebrated the solar eclipse on August 11th, 1999 that was visible in Romania. Its denomination of 2,000 leu celebrated the upcoming millennium. When I pass the note around, feel free to take this one out of the holder so that you can feel it, because it's made out of a polymer plastic, and you can also see through the note in two places. Alright, so I'm going to start passing these around, and then while I'm passing them around, I'll answer any questions you guys might have. So here are the animals, and then we'll start the rest of them over here. Alright, so any questions? Yes?
So the $1 trillion, or the trillion, whatever it was, what is that actually worth in US dollars?
I'm not exactly sure, but they actually changed the way that the Zimbabwean money works to a completely credit card system. So I think they devalued all the notes there, but I'm not exactly sure on that.
So big. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, considering they have denominations of $100 trillion, I mean, it did get quite bad there. Anyone else? No? All right, well, thank you very much.
Just one night.
You want to give them a chance to look at all the notes?
Yeah, let's let people have a chance to look at all the
Meanwhile, I have to.
Now, they had to pay for a lot of the damage done. So, therefore, they didn't have the money. People were hungry. It was horrible. So what they did was they started making, again, that word inflation. And they made a 10,000 mark note. And if you turn it sideways, this way, you can see a vampire. There's the nose, the eye, the mouth open. And there's the cape, is the head covering. And they called that the vampire note because they said it was a French vampire sucking Germany dry. So I'm going to pass that around too for you to see. You've seen that one, right? Yeah. And Bryce found one in a box.
Yep. 50 cents.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Now, ones like this are a little more, but still they're not huge because a lot of dealers don't even know about them. So if you're careful, you can find them. Peter has some in this condition, Peter Robert. Next to the coconut. Yeah, I did. I know it. By doing lots of research and having a real love of the subject. So most of us that have been in the hobby a long time just love to do research and learn something new. And as long as you keep learning, it's really, really great. Now, what I'm going to do is going to follow a little bit of the world paper theme, and then after lunch we'll do some more. But this is a book of world paper 1961 to present, and I'm going to first of all give you notes that are, and these are key. And I'm going to give you notes that are, that don't have any watermark that's really visible. Lots of watermarks are in the printing and all of this. The fancy designs, the watermarks are to keep people from copying it. It doesn't matter whether it was 100 years ago or today. People try and copy. The Roman coins, people used to do that. 2,000 years ago. People, yeah, today you have to be very careful buying high-end ancient coins. Yeah, even low end, right. But they don't do as good a job as the low end. But the high-end ones, yes. So what I'm going to do is just give you, and no kids over here. Okay, here. Now, I have that book. You can look up some of them in that. And then after lunch, we'll do some more. Nobody else?
Thank you very much.
We should talk again.
That is pretty mythology.
You know,
okay.
I guess
You guys can each take two out there. Now, when you're looking at paper money, from world paper money, you want to hold it up and you want to look at it. And first of all, you want to see, is it a alphabet type that's used like we have, which would be French, German, English, whatever. Or is it a Greek-looking thing? Is it Oriental, like Japan or China? That's how you look them up in the book. Most of these books have pages in the beginning that have copies of the alphabet, and you can pretty well find them if you look hard enough. There's also some very nice sites on the web for looking up. Here's the international grading terminology, but you wouldn't be interested in that yet. Here is the number system for all around the world, so that you can look at the numbers, and sometimes you can figure out where it's from just from that. and then you can find out how much it's worth. And then they have a guide to international numbers, and they tell you what the equivalent would be in different languages. They have a dating page so that you can date the Arabic times, which the dates would be different, so you could be able to find out that. So it's really a good idea. And then there's a way to identify. They have just pictures of different places that are common notes, and you can look at, oh, that writing looks familiar. Oh yeah, that's it. And then you can go into, I mean, there's great stuff in these books. And you can usually buy an older one pretty cheaply. If your local library has a book sale, sometimes these are brought in and they are really cheap. I've seen them as low as a couple of dollars. And it's pretty, you could come in. Well, when you come, they can come in and I can give them samples of things. But it's a good way to learn. So you can spend a few minutes looking things up, or maybe one of you or two of you can figure out what some of them are. You can sit in these chairs if you want. And then I want you to, probably after lunch is better, come up here and pick these things out. The coins for A's are really important, where you get things, because it's a connection. And there are wonderful sites. Make sure that you get some of these bookmarks, because most of them have some of the sites on them. Oh, they're not here. But most of them have the sites. Just remember, for the A&A, it's money.org. That's really easy to remember. Money.org. But if you pick up these things, you can also have any of the coin holder books that are over there. And you can have, we're going to put some books after lunch too out that you can take, whatever you want. So, let me see, they said lunch would be ready about 12, so this is probably pretty good. I'm going to give everybody a ticket. You can come up and get, but look at those notes that you have and see if you can figure out. Sometimes they'll have bank of in English, sometimes they'll have a date, but just looking at it, you can sort of tell where it's from. Anybody figure any of them out? Yeah?
It looks like one of Mexico and China.
I'm not sure whether it's China. Some of them were China, some were Japan.
I'm gonna translate them when I get home.
Yeah, look them up, yeah.
I know this one has Mexico.
All right, so everybody can have, what we're going to do is we're going to give everybody a yellow ticket. And you don't go out into the big room again, you go straight across to what they call the duck blind. And you will be able to get lunch for this ticket. And that's parents as well. So if you want to come up, and if you have any questions or you want to look at some of this stuff before lunch, you can. Catch up a little bit with the paper money. And this paper money is special because I sorted this pile. I said I buy them all over. This pile all has a watermark that is interesting to look at.
Yeah, this is some Russian money I just bought.
So when you get them, you can look at them just like you did the others. Where, what does it tell you about the country? Is it a place where it's hot, or is it a place where it's cold? Do they have mountains? Is it flat? Learn about it, what kind of writing is on it. And then you want to look at this one, and you always want to look for a watermark, because, again, watermarks make it harder to copy them. But these all have watermarks. Here. I might have enough for everybody to get two, but wait till I see. Here, just take one.
this thing.
Anybody else on this? One little one. Okay, I'll give it to you. Here, these are, look at the watermark. They all have a watermark that you can look up, hold up to the light and look and see what the picture is.
Yes. Yes.
Now, since we have so few kids, I think maybe I'll save these so that when you come to the meeting or you give me something that you've looked at and can tell me something, I'll give you these.
There's nothing American in here.
Because I don't go out to Kansas City until June.
Look, I also have two.
And then I'm going to give you each one of these. These are fakes. Oh, you guys.
One and two.
Each one take one. Okay, these are fakes. And if you have any doubt about it, look at your back. All right, what can you tell me about that?
It's made of paper.
It's made of paper.
Doesn't have a back.
Huh?
Doesn't have the right back.
Well, the back is an advertisement. That's from a big coin show.
It's a little fuzzy.
But it's a copy of a real one. And it just shows you that the older paper money in the United States was very beautiful. And every state, every bank actually had their own money. And it was really very unusual. And a lot of people collect that, and there's some dealers with that out there.
This is my second one of these now.
Who wasn't here to get these? You weren't. You got one? Who didn't? Anybody? Oh, who didn't?
I got some.
No.
different.
Oh,
This
different
one
ones.
has a, this one has a,
I didn't get one like that.
I see the watermark.
Bryce? Yes, you did.
I did. I think I did.
I think you did.
Yeah, you did.
It's in a, it would be in a holder.
So that must be
I
Russian.
actually have two of them now, plus this thing that I have.
Yeah, see, that's a watermark, so you hold up and look at that. Sometimes the watermarks are beautiful. Sometimes they're just an anti-counterfeiting.
So, Mom, this one. No, wait, this isn't Russia. This is.
No, it's on the back.
Wait, I'm trying to think. Don't tell me, but I know that symbol. That is. Let's see, it's not Romania. Somewhere on there.
All right,
It's
now,
not Hungary. Oh, wait.
You're getting close.
It's.
here, these are for you guys. You
Don't
know it all,
recall
but
that
that's-
anymore.
All right, this is something I did
Feel comfortable together.
years ago, so I haven't checked it over to know whether
That's.
I've even got the
I have a bunch of coins with that on it.
everything included. No. All right, now, some of you won't be able to read all of this, but save it. And what this is terms that we use for paper money. Coins, front and back of a coin is difficult to understand. Paper money is easy, front and back. I'll give you one for that. Margins are the edges. Look at the notes I've already given you.
Thank you very much.
And margins are around the edge. You can have an absolutely beautiful note. And if the margins aren't even, it can be a huge difference in price. Go and look at some of the dealers who have the high-end paper money, which is what some of us buy. And it is really significant how it makes a difference. So what you want to do is, I'll go over a few of them. The BEP, that's the Bureau of Engraving and Printing in Washington. It's wonderful to go there. They have a walk that you can take and look. Before 9/11, we went down on the floor. That was fun, but you can't do that anymore. Paper, what is paper money made of? Most of it is made of paper, but some of it is made of polymer plastic. And there are all kinds of paper. Some of them have more cotton in them, some of them have linen in them. The cheaper stuff, the countries that really have cheap paper, they don't last very long, and they have a very low grade of paper. But other countries want to save money. Even our $1 bills only last like a year and a half to 2 years. And that's how fast they go. Ink, again. Ink can be different qualities. Engraving. There are some that print their money like pictures. There's others that do engraving. They actually make the plates. Our U.S. money is made by engravers who make every little line on a steel plate. And then the ink is pressed into that. Early days it was wood or metal. Grading. Grading means everything from a rag, which is what you find sometimes in the junk boxes. They're all falling apart and wrinkled, and all the way up. And that means what kind of it, because that depends, the price depends on the grade. Margins, I told you about. Signatures. People will collect U.S. bills by the signatures. Whenever the Secretary of the Treasury changes, they put a new signature on there. So you get different signature combinations. And especially the old notes that were done by each bank or each, early on. In the 1800s, signature combinations are really important. And lots of times, in the older bills, in the bills from the beginning of our country, there are famous people you would have heard that signed them. And who was the printer of a lot of our money, of our paper money in the early days, even before we were a country?
Take a wild guess. Ben Franklin?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
good.
You're right. And Ben Franklin, when he wanted to start printing paper money, he wanted to get paper, but he was not a member of, it wasn't called a union then, but it was a group of people that they wouldn't sell to anybody outside. So he had a friend of his who would come over from England, and he set up a mill called Ivy Mills out in Delaware County. And there's still parts of that building left, and the settling pond where they made the paper, and they soaked the rags, the linen rags. And the settling pond is still there, and some of the original buildings from that mint. But he made a lot of the early paper and the first paper for the first stamps as well. Error notes. Okay, error notes are when the printer gets stuck and misses, or they mix it up and put the seals on the wrong side, that type of thing. Star notes. If there's a star on a note, it's a replacement note because there was something wrong. And when they have a pack of bills that comes out of the BEP, every number is accounted for. So if they have to take out one that has a mistake, they put a special bunch that have stars on them at the end or the beginning of the serial number. Yeah?
I have a lot of star notes at my house. I probably have like 30 of them maybe.
Good. That's because you look at things.
Yep.
Yeah. Watermark we did. Vignette is a picture.
I have a silver certificate.
Yeah. And they're pretty neat. Just the picture. The old ones had some very famous paintings. And there were banknote companies who would go around to these different banks and say, all right, here's my list. And they would have a whole book of all these vignettes. And you'd pick, oh, I'd like to have this one and this one. And oh, put this one over here in the corner. And sometimes it was pretty funny. It was a bridge because they had a famous bridge in the town. And the bridge was from 5 states away. But people never realized that. So there's research again on all of this that's out there, and you can find out where all the vignettes came from. Okay, so everybody look at those notes that you got. You can even learn a little bit from those fakes. Now, some of our people here have been very good. These are not the used ones, these are new ones. And the reason we're doing state quarters is because, again, those wonderful machines in the supermarkets, we are finding all of these coming out from everywhere. I mean, I find state quarters in almost every handful of change that I get. So that you will find coins. Now, any of you who have been coming here for several years, might might remember a wonderful man who was in charge of this show, and his name was Pal Sherman. And he passed away, and this summer his family gave me a whole bunch of state quarters. So I have a little bag, and these will all fit in volume 1. Great. And now state quarters are basically worth a quarter, unless you're trying to fill a book, and then it's going to be more.
Unless you find an error.
Or an
quite
error.
Common in these
There were. Where are some of the errors in state quarters?
Well, there's an error in pretty much every year.
Yeah, but
I can't remember them.
There's one with corn.
Oh yeah, the 2004 Wisconsin, right?
With the corn ears.
Oh yeah, the thing on it.
Actually, there can be some where there's errors in the from each. They're different from different men. Did I give you this? You've got some more? Yes. All right. So what I want you to do is don't just plug in the holes with the name of the state.
Be sure the mint mark is correct.
Make sure the mint mark is correct, but also make sure you look at these coins. How many of you know what some of these states show? Anybody have a Rhode Island coin?
I do.
There's an old man of the mountain on it.
Yeah.
Do you know he's not there anymore? The freezing, thawing, the whole face fell off.
Oh,
So you have a little piece of history if you have a Rhode Island there.
New Hampshire. Yeah, it's not Rhode Island.
It's not Rhode Island?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, sorry. But it's pretty cool. Then you look, most of them will show you like the state flower or the state animal, state bird, a couple of them have. What do you think California has? You don't have California because that's in book 2. What was California famous for? Yeah, mudslide.
They have a die cut in real estate.
No, they have the panning for gold, the gold miners. But when you look on the quarters, you look at what you want to look on there and see what the what the state is famous for. Don't let all those contests to make the coins go to waste by simply putting in the date. Right?
Why is Paul Revere on the Delaware quarter?
Delaware.
It's a trick question.
Oh.
Ooh, John.
Well, there was a guy on horseback, but it wasn't. He'd have to ride a long way to tell him the British were coming. Who knows? Who can tell me? One day we had somebody, it was Lionel, wasn't it, that told us? Ooh. What?
These are yours. Or leave them. And I wanted to make sure you got this.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
My life.
Anyway. Would you like to see one of them?
One of what?
I'll only show you one. Because I have to be very careful. Maybe I shouldn't even take them out.
What are those?
Well, I'm not passing them around, put it that way. Oh, they packed them up pretty good. All right, I'll just show you. Well, that's a fractional piece. This is early American money. This, isn't it beautiful?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is a $2 bill.
When?
1918.
I don't know, this one isn't, this isn't mine, this is my husband. I don't know. I need him to do this stuff. But it's
It's 1899.
$18.99. The 2 is beautiful. I haven't seen this. I just paid for it. Okay. So you can really, if you study hard, but you have to know what you're getting. You have to know, and you have to love it. And you know what's funny? People can collect things, and they think they're doing it for money, and 10 years later, the interest is not there, and they're not even buying that. And but if you love it, it's worth it. Fractional currency went down a lot. About every 20 years, some of these things go way down. That's when everybody can buy this stuff. All right. So, any questions? I have some more copies of the Numismatics here, which is the magazine of the A&A. Great magazine. I want you all to think about the young numismatists. And then we also have some books. Most of you, I am sure, have read books. So what I want you to do is I'm going to put these out. You can take them, but please let the younger collectors who don't have them have first choice. And these, here, I'll give those now. Here's some gifts from some of the dealers here. These are special. Take a look at them.
Sorry. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
I want you to look at, I want you to really carefully look at the quarters. The state quarters are neat. Do any of you want a book called Coin Collecting for the Next Generation? And I think the kids probably could use it, the younger ones. Older ones probably know a lot of this. Keep the box it came in, that thing, because there's got a thing you can put it up.
I already have one.
You have this right there.
I think that's the book you gave.
Yeah, I gave him.
Thursday,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. You guys want them or not?
These are gold.
Not gold. No.
It's plated, right?
If they were gold, do you think they would be giving them to us?
Definitely.
They're nice though.
Yeah.
No, one is fine.
All right, and then we have a few things. How many do you have? How many kids do we have? You're right. Gave us the books and the nickel series, and that the people up on the stage. Then I want to give you something else, because since you guys collect, it's always good to have a notebook which you put your flips in. So I'm going to give you each an extra sheet of this.
Oh.
This is also from Mr. Sherman.
Thank you. You already did the head.
At the very first table in the front on this side, on Thursday.
Bryce, may I take a look at one of your notes? I saw a really neat looking one. Do you mind if I-
You see all these.
Yeah, he was going to come. The show will be in Philadelphia. And
Mom.
the exhibits alone are an education. Wonderful. How many?
I was telling her about that at lunch.
Oh, yeah, the exhibits alone are wonderful. There are classes available, and there's something called a World Mint. You buy a passport like this. This is an old one. I forget what year this was. But you buy a passport. It doesn't say. Maybe they're sending the same one. Yeah, you buy the passport and you go around to the mint, the English mint, the Canadian mint, the Chinese mint. What else?
Australia.
Yeah. And then they will put one of their coins in. You pay, I don't know, $7, $8 a piece for these? Something like that. And then you go around and wait in line at each mint, and they put a coin in and stamp it. And if you're smart, you will soon staple them because they tend to fall out.
So you pay $7 or $8 for the booklet?
You booklet, and then you will go around to each mint, and they will put a coin in it from their mint and stamp it. They will stamp behind
There's
it.
like history about each coin at this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's pretty good. China, for whatever year this was, it was Austria, China, Ireland, Gibraltar, United Kingdom, and the United States Mint. You get a free cent.
Cool.
I mean, they aren't expensive coins, but you have a coin from that country. And then when you go to these mints, you can see the beautiful coinage that a lot of them have. A lot of countries make money from their coinage to sell to collectors. Canada probably is one of the biggest, but there's others that do too. And a lot of the small countries make coins as their main stamps and coins to sell to collectors.
And commemorative coins. A lot of that.
Yeah, well, that's what they are. They're commemorative coins. Now they're doing them with that light up in the dark, and they do them with all kinds of stuff on them. So, you three want to say something about the A&A seminar?
I feel like you wish to back me up.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's do
let's
it.
get, all right. When you go to the A&A as a 13-year-old kid, you can go into classes with some of the world's greatest collectors and dealers, and most of them are collectors that are in those. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I've been to summer seminar, I think, for 5 years now. It's hard to keep track because it's been so long, but it's a great experience because you get to meet a lot of other YNs and other older people who are interested in numismatics, and the camaraderie is great. You can learn from the experts in whatever coin collecting genre you want to focus on. You can try new things. For example, last year I tried hobo nickel carving for the first time, which was a lot of fun. And I also learned how to make my very own medieval coin dies. So I made my own coins. I designed them and I created them. Probably should have brought some. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, do you guys want to say something else?
Go ahead, keep going.
I mean, the A&A, it's such a great experience. So, just like Casey said, you meet a lot of like amazing people. Like Ken Brissett, the editor of the Red Book, he's always there. He's always roaming around and doing numismatic things. And it's just a great experience.
The museum alone.
Yes.
Yeah, you can
Last
see.
year's was wonderful.
Yeah, you can. It's also right next to the A&A headquarters. You can go in there, see like $1804, all sorts of rare coins. And it's also, you couple that with the A&A show that is in Philadelphia this year, and those are basically the two greatest things you could do as far as numismatics goes. And with the A&A show, Mrs. Stitley hit most of the highlights, but one of the other things you could do is there's a scavenger hunt for all sorts of different types of coins, and you can go around the show floor to a bunch of different stops and learn about a different type of coin at each stop.
And
so that's
get
kind of fun
stuff.
to do. And get stuff, yeah.
That's the big incentive.
And isn't the treasurer there? I mean, U.S. Treasurer's been
Yeah,
there a
usually
couple-
the
couple
U.S. Treasurer
times
is
that
there.
I've been there.
And you can get them. When we went to Boston, his older brother got his notes signed by the treasurer of the United
When we
States.
did the Philadelphia one, I got them signed.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to learn that one. They're also very good speakers, very good courses, yeah. There's a lot of wonderful things at the show.
Casey, do you want to tell people about the scholarships, applying for a scholarship?
Oh, the Hawaiian auction. Yes, to help inspire young numismatists to fly out to summer seminar, you can apply for scholarships. So I think you can find it on the A&A website. There's a form and you can fill that out. It includes a few questions, an essay, and you might be able to get money towards going out there to fly out, pay for your classes, which is a great opportunity that I think everyone should take advantage of. The reason why the A&A has that money is because of the YN auction, which happens every year at summer seminar, one auction for each week. So basically the YNs receive donations from generous people, coin donations, and then we catalog them, create a nice little booklet, you know, a catalog, hand that out to people, and then host our very own auction. And the money raised from that goes towards scholarships to pass it on.
And tell them how much money you make each week. In a bad year.
16,000.
No,
16,000. Yeah, the year I ran the auction, we raised around 16,000. That was for 1 week, and then there are 2 weeks.
So that's a lot of scholarships.
Great.
Yeah. And those auctions are fun.
Yeah, they are.
How long have you guys, each of you guys, been collecting? From what age? And who got you interested in it?
I was 7. I started collecting in 2011, January of 2011. And I got started from a unit at school, actually, where we were supposed to bring in $1 of coins to count them. But, of course, none of us really wanted to count them. We just wanted to look at the dates and everything. And that whole concept of looking at the dates was what got me hooked.
I like how you're so specific, you know exactly when you started. I don't really
I can be more specific than that.
Okay, my mom says 10 and a half. Yeah, I know it was definitely elementary school. I got started because my mom wanted me to take some coins to the bank, but sort out the older ones. Oh, so let's see if there are any Wheaties or whatever. And so I got interested in that. She eventually passed on her old stock books to me. I collected US coins. And then when I joined my very first coin club in Trenton, New Jersey, I got interested in world coins and eventually expanded to ancients. So I had a lot of great influences along the way. But I credit my starting with numismatics to my mom and her collection.
Mr. Magnus also.
Yes, I had a very, very kind mentor named Mr. Magnus at my old club who gave me gifts and gave me information, told me stories to try to inspire me to collect historical coins. You know, coins are history in your hand, like I always say. And he's the one who got me started with ancient coins. And I've been going with that ever since.
And I was 6 years old. This was around 2008. My father was on a business trip. I don't remember where. I think somewhere in Connecticut. And then he was reading an article in one of the newspapers about the presidential dollars. And he thought that might be interesting. So he ordered a couple from the mint. And then when we were home, you know, of course they came in the mail. And I was just hooked immediately after that. You know, I started reading the red book and. Then first I started collecting United States coins. I did that for quite a while. Then I started to expand into more world coins like I am now. So, and that was just because I heard stories of some kids, and even adults and everybody, and they would go through 25-cent bins of just random world coins, and then they'd find, you know, like $30 coins or $50 coins. Some of
Sorry.
You okay?
It definitely went down.
Sorry, fine. And then So I just stuck with world coins.
If I can mention one thing too, and that has to do with the Wilmington Coin Club, and specifically Pam, one of the local dealers, or actually two of the local dealers, said you need to join a coin club. And Kenny decided we're going to join Wilmington Coin Club. And Pam, because we didn't have a lot of Hawaiians there, Casey was one of them, before every meeting every month, Pam would take time and do a little topic with Kenny before the meeting itself. So we hope many of you will end up becoming the future Hawaiians at the Wilmington Coin Club.
So you want to come to, I will only do that again if I can get a couple of kids, because I would have to get down there, you know.
It's time consuming, but appreciate it. And
we did that every month.
When did you first join at Wilmington?
Probably not too long after, like maybe 2010.
You came in 2012 because I hooked you at the.
I remember at the World's Fair of Money. I remember that, and then I went to the Coin Club meeting for the first time in September of 2013. No, July 2013.
So you see what will happen? You stick with it and learn to love it. And it's history in your hands. Just like the vampire note, there's all sorts of cool notes and coins. Yeah, over the years, I usually bring in one thing each time. The Swedish plate money. I haven't done that a couple of years. Maybe next year we'll bring in the Swedish plate money. This big. Yeah. I'll bring that in. You can help me carry it in. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? No.
Well, I just have something to add on to your comment, Kenny, about searching in the 25-cent bins.
Yeah.
A couple months ago, I was at the Tri-State Coin and Stamp Show, which happens every month, I think, right? Yeah. And I was looking in a 25-cent bin, and I found what I thought was a Indian headset. So I pulled it out, paid 20 cents for it. You know, horrible condition, like super worn and everything, but I was like, it's still, you know, late 1800s. And I'm looking at it, and I all of a sudden noticed that instead of saying United States of America around the Indian, I saw a bunch of stars, and I was like, wait, that's different. So I'm looking on the back, and the 1 cent is kind of moved down a little bit, and I'm like, and I'm researching, and this took me like a couple more months to figure out what it actually was, but I believe it's actually a Civil War token that above the 1 cent would say not 1 cent, but somebody had scratched it off.
Right.
So just to find that there, I mean, oh, and it's also 200% rotated, so it's also a rotated die.
Wow.
Oh, really?
So I was like, woo.
That's very neat.
The best thing I ever found in a world coin junk box was actually an ancient coin. I found actually a Constantine bronze in very nice condition just in the junk box. And I thought, oh, wait, what? This isn't an ancient coin junk box, this is a world coin junk box. But I got an ancient coin for, 20 cents or whatever it was.
Nice.
So learn your stuff and keep looking, and you can really get great things started.
thank you very much, Pam.
Thank you.
Thank you.